Hey everyone, in today's video I will be covering how I find niches to publish in. I use many different methods, so I will have to split this process into a series. So let's jump into part 1 and try to find some good niches. Before we dive into some real-time niche research, there are a few steps or rules that I follow. The most important tool we need is for finding the BSRs of the books we are looking at. BSR stands for Best Sellers Rank, and it indicates how well a product is selling on Amazon at that moment. The lower the BSR, the better. This means as the BSR goes lower towards number 1, the more sales it is getting. The cutoff for me is a BSR of 1 million for the US marketplace. If I find a niche full of books with BSRs over 1 million, then I will stay away from it, as there doesn't seem to be much demand, and I wouldn't want to waste my time creating books for a niche that won't bring me many sales. To find the BSR information, you will need some Chrome extensions. I use DS Amazon Quick View or Helium 10. These are both free, and I will leave the links to these in the description. So let's get started. Okay, so I've got a lot of different methods I use for niche research, and let's just cover the first one. And the first one is Google. And I tend to just put journal for, and then I'll just go through the alphabet. So I'll start with A, journal for A, and I'll just take a look, see if anything stands out. So we could choose this one, for example, journal for ADHD. So I'll go over to Amazon and see if there's anything that's selling quite well, and then I'll add that to the list. Okay, so I'm on Amazon now, and I'll put that in. Okay, not too many results there, that's pretty good. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, so this book has a really good BSR that is selling really well, but it's priced at $14.99, so I can already imagine that it's going to be quite complicated, quite a lot of content in there. But we can have a quick look to see if I'm correct. Okay, so let's have a quick look through. Yep. Yep, super complicated. So let's stay away from this one. And let's go back. Okay, so moving on. Okay, this one. Good BSR. Let's have a look. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. Okay, it's quite simple so far, with a few prompts in there. Some more prompts, some more questions, and a doodle page, and then it's repeated again. So pretty simple to replicate, and obviously change it to put your own spin on it. So already that's a good sign that this niche has some good demand in it, and we could possibly enter it. But let's have a look at some more books, just to make sure. Okay, let's check this one out. That's a good BSR. Reviews are not too good, so maybe we can have a look at this and potentially improve on some of the things we see in the reviews. Let's look inside. Okay. You've got a calendar there with goals, affirmations, a page for doodling or writing, and then a weekly gratitude page. Okay, so this is quite easy to replicate, and we could make it look a bit better. And we could have a look at the reviews to see if there's anything that we can improve on. customers will normally tell you things they don't like or things that should be changed. So this is quite useful to us. Right, so let's check out the reviews. Okay, so this person is complaining that there isn't any daily pages. There's weekly pages. So you could put some daily pages in there as well. I wish this was more detailed. There is no difference between this planner and any other one. So you could add more ADHD content in there. Like do some research on ADHD and maybe try and incorporate some images or phrases that are connected to ADHD. But other than that, the reviews are pretty good. So we can definitely add the ADHD planner niche to our list because the BSRs are good. So there's obviously demand. We found a planner that's selling well, even though its reviews are not so good, and it's priced very high as well for what it is. And we can improve upon the design as well. It's not the best in my opinion. So there's 3 areas we can improve on. We can make a better cover, a better interior, and we can do it for a better price as well. So that's definitely going on the list. Okay, so let's go back to Google and try and find the next niche. Same method again. Okay, so there's a lot of ideas here, and you can go for any one of these options and then try and do some deeper research. But out of all of these options, I will go for journal for books read. So I'm guessing that's just a reading journal. So we will type that into Amazon and see what comes up. Reading journal. And there is quite a lot of results here, which isn't the best, but I bet not all of these books are actually reading journals. You do tend to get a lot of books that have nothing to do with the niche. So let's have a look at the books. There are some great BSRs here. Let's have a look at some more. Simple cover. And that book is selling really well. That is a simple cover, under 1 million BSR. Another simple cover, good BSR. Another one. More really good BSRs here. So we can tell that there is a lot of demand for this type of book. But I know what you're thinking. There's too much competition. I won't be able to make sales. So what's the point in trying? And I would agree with you, but what I do to see if it is worth publishing in this niche is I will go and select an option which says new releases in the last 90 days. I will select paperback as well, and if we select paperback, that narrows it down to mostly KDP books. And the reason I use this method is because it will show us if this niche is saturated or if books published in the last 90 days can make good sales. If there are multiple books with BSRs under 1 million, then we know that we could potentially come in and steal a piece of the pie. And it would make me even more confident if I see books that are selling well, but they have an average looking cover, which I know that I can improve upon. So as you can see, the first 4 books have decent BSRs mostly. This book is just over 1 million. So let's check out the rest. These have good BSRs. This one is priced very high. Let's take a look at some more. This book is priced very high. So maybe if this was $6.99 or $7.99, it would make more sales, the BSR would drop, but they're too greedy. This book is making good sales. This one is just over 1 million. This one's selling really well, 63,000. That's a good cover as well. That's selling okay. So now we know that we can come into this niche, and as long as we make a good quality book, that we have a good chance of succeeding and making sales. So the next thing I will do is I will look at the covers and see if there are any average or poor looking ones that I can improve upon. And I'll try to look at the ones with BSRs under 1 million or just over. So this one is average looking. It's pretty simple. We could make a better design than this. This one is really good. I like it. That is just a picture. This one is terrible. I do apologize if you are the author and you are watching this, but there are people out there that are buying this book. This book is simple, effective, but it's off center to the right. This book's selling well, but I don't really like the cover. There's too much of a gap in between these words. I don't like this font. You can't really tell that it says journal, but like I said before, there are people buying this, so it can't be that bad. I like this one. It's simple but effective. It's just the price that's letting it down. It would probably make more sales if they dropped the price. This one is super basic. We could definitely improve upon that. Again, I think this is the same author as the one below. Yep, awful. I don't really know what clouds have to do. Clouds on a marble background have to do with reading. But moving on. I like this one. It's colourful, simple, effective. This one is simple, but we could probably do a better job. This one is super basic, gradient background, some floral patterns, and a font that everyone seems to use. These two are nothing special. And I like these two. This one is a complicated design, but it's quite effective. And I really like this cover. I can see why it would appeal to book lovers. And it does stand out from all the rest. So let's take a look inside at the interior and see if we can improve it or get some ideas that we can use. Okay, so let's take a look inside. Some quotes. This is a pretty good idea. So once the customer has finished reading a book, they can add the title to any one of these, and that's a good idea for visual progress. So that's a really good touch. And there is space for 50 books. So you can write the title, the author, date completed, and the overall rating. And then you can go into more detail. And it looks like there's 2 pages for each book. So this interior is a really good idea for readers. I read quite a lot myself, so this is something that I would be interested in. It has a purpose. So we could redesign all of this, put our own little spin on it. Maybe put some pictures of books, add different kinds of images relating to books or reading. So yeah, other than that, it's pretty simple to replicate and add our own little spin onto it. And I think there's some additional notes pages just to fill the book up a little bit. And that's it. So it would be quite easy to replicate this, add a few little touches to it, improve it. We could go into the review section to see if there's anything that people would recommend changing or they'd like added or taken away. But other than that, I'm happy to add this to the list. So that's our second niche that we found from the Google method. Okay, so back to Google we go. And next up is letter C. Okay, so none of these are standing out to me straight away. But like I said before, you could go into Journal for Couples or Journal for a Child and try to dive deeper into the niche, try to see what books are showing up, and then you can get ideas that way. But instead of doing that, what you can also do is just add some letters to it. And I'll normally go through vowels. So we can do CA and see what comes up. And again, you can look through any of these to see what comes up. That might be a good niche. Case reports, cash sales, journal for cash in hand. But we'll keep looking. Do CI. Okay, so journal for cinema, that jumps out at me. And that is basically a movie journal. So we can hop over to Amazon and do the same process. So first I'll type in cinema journal. See if anything comes up. So we've got this one with a good BSR, but it is movie watching journal, not a cinema journal. And there's not many books selling for this search term, so I think we will try movie journal instead. And once we've found the niche, we can also use this search expander tool to potentially get other ideas so that we can niche down. So here you can see horror movie journal, and that's a term that people are searching for. So you could make a specific horror movie journal, which is obviously just for horror movies. You can then use your brain and think, oh, what about a comedy journal? What about a romantic movie journal? A superhero movie journal, because there is so many superhero movies now. Or you can do movie journal for kids, movie journal for women. So you've kind of got to read between the lines and be open to opportunities. But we'll check out movie journal to see what comes up. Okay, so the first thing I see is there is a lot of results that show up for this. So let's take a look at the BSRs. That's selling really well. That's also selling well. That's selling really well. This one's doing okay. This was published just over 3 months ago, so that gives us some hope. And pay attention to the title of the books, because although we've put movie journal, you may be able to create a similar book with a different title name, such as movie critic notebook or movie rating journal. So let's keep going. This is selling really well, as we saw above, but it was published 2 years ago. Okay, this one was just over 3 months ago as well, and it's selling quite well. See if there's any more. This one was published 10 months ago, and the cover is terrible, but it seems to be selling. It's got good reviews, so the interior might be good. So like before, we can tell that we can come into this niche and it's possible that we could still make sales, because there have been authors that have come in the last 3 months or so and they're getting sales. And this is the most common search term. We can sub-niche this way down, like I said about the type of genre of movies. So you can probably have more success in those smaller sub-niches that are more targeted. So let's look at the covers to see if we can beat them and be more desirable to the customer's eyes. So like I said, this one is boring. Let's go up. This is a cover showing the interior, and I don't really like this font at all. It looks a bit messy, but it's still selling. You could create this cover in about 3 minutes. It's that easy. This one isn't selling that well anymore, but as you can see, it's a simple design, but people have still bought it. Basic cover, we can do better than that. We can definitely do better than this one. Same as the one below. The cover is just a picture of the interior and what they can expect, which customers do like sometimes. 3-minute job. Same as the one below, and that was published just over 3 months ago, so you can tell that customers like this look inside feature, and that's pretty nice. I like this one. As we've seen over the last 2 niches, we can definitely make better covers than the ones that are already selling well, And the next thing to do is to take a look inside to see if we can replicate the interior, improve it, and do a better job for the customer. So I'll choose any one of these. Let's choose this one because it's the most recent and it's selling well. Okay. Index for all the movies. And there's space for 100. There's a few notes pages. And I'm guessing it's just 100 pages of this. 6 boxes. You can put all the details in, all the information, the summary, good quotes, highlights, tension curve, that's different, and all the ratings of the different aspects of the movie, and additional notes. So this is simple but effective. So what we can do is we can look at all the books that are selling well in this niche and try to cherry pick certain parts of each one that we like or that customers like and combine it to make a super book. But there's definitely a demand for this book. I think for the search term movie journal by itself, it would be quite saturated and quite hard to make sales. But like I said, if you niche down, have a look at the horror movie journal, change up the search term wordings a bit. So you could put movie critic log, movie critic journal, or you could even do one for TV shows. So just from this one idea, we've got potentially 10 to 20 different ideas of niches that we could publish in. So I'll add this to the list because I think it could be a good one. Thank you for making it this far in the video. I hope this video has given you some insight into how my mind works regarding niche finding and one of the processes that I use. As you can see from the 3 niches we discovered, there is potentially at least 20 sub-niches that we can also publish in. You can repeat the same process with the word planner, organizer, coloring book, or activity book, etc. As always, I am most active in my Facebook group, so if you have any questions, that is the best place to reach me if you need a fast response. Have a great day. Take care.